Christy here. Today I'm here to share with you a little travel mini album using the Ali Edwards travel collection from 2019. I think this was released back in April. Um, and just knowing that we were going to be doing some traveling, I loved the colors in this collection. I just bought it. I just had to have it. So um, this is the album that was in the collection. It's a beautiful mint linen album. It's a 3x8, and I'll talk more about the 3x8 album in a second. But I just wanted to quickly show this collection, this pack, I guess. I don't know what she called it. Just she released it as kind of a package of embellishments and cards and that sort of thing. But this thing was chocked full of stuff, and I barely touched on the things that were in here, mostly because I was struggling with how chunky I wanted this to get and how busy, and I just kind of wanted more journaling and the photos to tell the story. But there was so many very unique and cool items in this kit that I just didn't get to use or didn't use. So we went on and I'll be documenting this trip also in my family album. So I'm going to use this collection in there. And then we also went on a trip to British Columbia, and I have 4 spreads for that trip. It's insane. So I'm hoping that I'll also get to use some of these things. She had these little word phrase flags with a gold foil that I didn't use at all. I didn't get into those at all. She had these faux leather, pink faux leather embellishments as well with words. Didn't get into those, but I love these. She had some acetate words. I believe there's 3 words in here. I tried to use these on some of my photos, but it just didn't work out. So I have those that will definitely get used. She had this cork assortment of shapes, stars, butterflies, and hearts. I ended up using all the hearts in this bag, so I have those other shapes for future projects. The travel log notepad, I don't even know how many pages are in here, but I think it's a little bit excessive. I love her notepads normally, but I just don't think that this is ever gonna be used up. But I hope that I will travel more and make use of this. I don't know. And there was also these 2x3 cards that I also tried to use, but it just didn't work out with how I planned my album. So I'm thinking that I'm going to use these as layering pieces, or possibly punch out some of the shapes for embellishments for other projects. I did like the idea of these, and I'm glad she included them because the album does come with a page protector that has a pocket for a 2x3, so I'm happy she included those, but I just didn't use them. The kit came with 1 chipboard, and I bought another chipboard, and I did use quite a few of those, but I love her chipboard, so I know I will use these other places. Staycation, who, what, where, when, why, how, making it happen, rough day, all these things can be used in my family album, so I'm going to do those. Word stickers, again, travel based, but I can also use some of these for everyday things. All the things, collect moments, happiness, experiences, that sort of thing. These are the, oh, there's more. So you want, there's so many embellishments. These little acetate pieces with the hexagon, I didn't use those, but I liked them, and I hope I can use them elsewhere. And then these rubber flags, there's 3. Again, I love the colors, but just didn't get to use them in this album. The kit came with a bunch of cards. These are the cards I have left over from the kit, which I hope to include in my Project Life album. I didn't obviously use any of these 4x6 cards because it's a 3x8 album, so I didn't use those, but I do think I can use these in other places. And the 3x4s. And then I also bought an additional I guess, an add-on with the 3x8 cards, which a lot of these repeated. They're just like a bigger size than the 3x4. So for like example, this is the 3x4 and this is the 3x8, and I did use a couple of the 3x8 cards in this album. So with all that being said, let's just get to it. Sorry for the rambling. Like I said, this is a album from Ali Edwards, documenting our Seattle trip. We took the first week of July 2019. I did use one of those 2x3 cards to cut down to do my book plate, and then used a stamp to stamp the date. I thought this was cute. This is just a paper clip I had in my stash, but I just kind of, I don't know, it's like a happy accident how that worked out in there. So, all right. So here's the inside of the album. It has like a kind of a map pattern on the inside in a gray. And I used a few additional items from my stash for embellishing. These hearts, these acetate hearts from Ellie Studio, and these, there was black and white puffy alphas from Pink Fresh Studio, and then some Ali Edwards labels that I had in my stash already, and that's pretty much all I added to finish this album. And this album came together super quickly. Once I had the photos all printed, I just laid them all out kind of how I wanted them and added the photos. I just did that on my kitchen table and then popped them into page protectors. And then really all that was left to do was embellishing, which was really quick. Also, the thing that took the longest was the journaling. It's not my favorite thing, and so yeah. I did the 3x8 photos through Persnickety Prints, and actually printed them as 4x8 because I could not find a 3x8 option anywhere, and it's just so frustrating that that is not an option through the Project Life app or Persnickety Prints or anywhere besides like Photoshop. I just don't have the technology or the technological prowess to figure that out. So I did the 4x8 and then just trimmed off the sides, and I really tried to be mindful of that when I was picking my photos for that. So it worked out for the most part. Here it's hard to see, but there's another little acetate heart from Ellie Studio. And I took tons and tons of photos on this trip, and this album really only holds, like, I only have 14 page protectors in here currently, and I don't know if you could get much more in here. I mean, you could, but it would be pretty chunky. So I really had to kind of pick and choose my stories and the photos that I want to include, and while still allowing enough room for cards and spots for journaling. We visited the famous gum wall. I really like this. So this photo originally was a 4x6, and I just cropped it to be a 4x8, which I cropped again to be a 3x8. Aaron was not impressed when we went to the gum wall. He thought it was really disgusting, and it was. We went with the intention of watching some baseball, so we watched the Mariners and the Cardinals. We went with my sister-in-law and her husband, and we drove down, so a lot of the journaling is talking about our drive and the things that we did and the baseball games. So we also did a lot at the market, so here's some photos from Pike Place Market. The kit didn't come with a lot of filler cards, which I would have loved to see more of that, like more patterned paper and things, but we went for breakfast at Lowell's, so I just took a picture of my yummy hot chocolate, and you can kind of see the Ferris wheel in the background and the water there. This is one of my favorite photos that I took at the market. Just, just taking pictures of strangers. Don't know this woman, but I think she's beautiful, and I love this photo so much. And finding some fun murals. I love tulips, so when I saw this mural of the tulip, I had to take a picture there. Added some more black puffy stickers. And the flowers, of course, I had to take a picture of the flowers. I also used a Heidi Swap date stamp just to tell the stories. This trip was super short. We did a lot of driving and not a lot of sightseeing. We didn't have a lot of time for that. But the funniest story to come from this trip was this statue. And hopefully you're not offended by some parts on this statue, but what happened was we were walking to the Space Needle from our hotel, and I saw this shocking sight, and I twisted my ankle. So I was like looking over my shoulder back at this statue, and I wasn't looking where I was going, obviously, and I fell over the sidewalk and twisted my ankle. So we had to stop and hang out with this fat man for a little bit, and I just took a picture of my ankle. And I added some stamping there. Do not love this, and talked about what happened. Added another acetate heart from Ellie's studio. I love this picture. Erin actually is getting the hang of photography here and took a decent picture of me. So thank you, Erin. And despite twisting my ankle, we continued on with our walk and observations of Seattle, doing all the touristy things. I have a couple flip pockets here. I didn't use the Simple Stories or Snap flip pocket like I normally do. Instead, I decided just to do the washi tape and see how I like that. And I like it. It's not the best, but I do like it. And I'm just debating whether or not I want to add anything on here to show that this flips. Some more stamping here, Space Needle, adding a cork heart, and then a picture of me sitting on the glass floor. Another picture courtesy of Erin. We went to the Museum of Pop Culture, so I loved this installation of all the guitars and musical instruments, so that was a pretty cool picture that I took and just cropped down to fit the pocket. Outside the Museum of Pop Culture, I loved the colors of the building. This was one of the 4x6 cards that I actually trimmed down to fit. I just liked the pink with the pink of the building, and I add a little chipboard just to kind of fill in that awkward empty space there. And yeah, after we went to the Museum of Pop Culture, we went to, I cannot say this, so if I'm saying it wrong, Chihuly Glass and Garden, or Chihuly Garden Glass Museum, and I loved it there. It was so beautiful, and I got lots of good pictures. So this was also, I think this was a 4x6 that I somehow cropped. I don't even know how I did it, or maybe it was a 3x4, or portrait style. And yeah, I love that picture. Another flip pocket with some pictures of the glass. And then on this card, I just kind of added 3 of my favorite memories from the trip on that card using the cork hearts again. Lots of hearts in this album. More pictures of the glass, more pictures of the gardens. I just love these photos and wanted to include them. Here's another one of the very few filler cards included in the kit, but yeah, I just added a label on there. And then on the 4th of July, we went to another baseball game, so did some journaling about that. This chipboard came from the July Stories by the Month kit, so I was happy to include that. Being in Canada, we don't celebrate July 4th, so I was happy that I was able to use that in the album for this trip. Another flip, just with photos in there. And then coming home, talking about our long drive home, super long trip home, and then me and my ankle again, just wearing one of Erin's sports socks to kind of compress my ankle as it was still super swollen and looking good, using one of the not so positive chipboard from the kit that says not awesome. Lots of journaling about our trip home. Like I said, it was just it was a long drive. It was a lot of driving, not a lot of touring, sightseeing, eating as I would have liked. So just a lot of writing about that. And then on the back, I just used another 3x8 photo, or sorry, not photo, 3x8 card that is available for purchase separately with another acetate heart there. So pretty simple. I do like how it turned out. I mean, I'm happy that it's documented and it's complete, but I just felt really limited. I was shocked that this was really only able to hold 14 page protectors. I'm sure I could fit like maybe 3, maybe 4 more in here, but I I love this. I love the look of the 3x8, but I feel a little bit restricted when creating with the 3x8. What I would have liked in this album would have been a bit more, well, there really isn't any memorabilia, tickets, maps, pamphlets, that sort of thing. And that's the sort of things I really love to include in a travel album. And because of the size, it just wasn't possible to have kind of little interactive features or things hanging or included in the pages. So yeah, I think next time I do a travel album, I'm definitely gonna do like a 6x8. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I was gonna save this album to do in October when I attend a retreat, a scrapbooking retreat, but I just couldn't help myself, and it came together so quickly. So I'll have to find something to do in October. If you have any ideas for me, then please leave them in the comments below. What can I do on a 3-day retreat now that I've done this album and am pretty close to being caught up in my weekly project life? What can I do? I don't know. Thanks so much for watching.